Next, we're going to bring up another gentleman from the Sacramento area, Jason Mussetter. He is the owner of Mussetter Distributing. Jason, welcome to the live stream. This is another guy that I've known for a while. You were one of the first guys that I got connected with.
Let me just switch your mic there, please.
I'm going to switch out your mic.
It's better.
Yeah,
Yes.
that looks better.
Yeah.
Number 2 apparently is the one that works.
Number 2.
Who does number 2 work for, Jason?
Yeah, I think we started craft only in about 2009, so I think it was right around that time that we got together and just kind of gave you the update on our progress as a distributor.
Yeah, you've been a friend of BevNet and now Brewbound for many years. Maybe just give us an update on your business and how things have evolved over the last few years and where you guys are at, what you guys are looking at for 2018.
Well, yeah, I mean, I guess when you look at probably every major metropolitan, big craft beer market in the country, I mean, the beer selection's been getting better and better, and that's kind of been our goal ever since we started. We started with 3 craft brands, and now we represent around 40 craft and cider in Sacramento. So, I mean, every year I feel like it's an obligation for us at this point to make sure that we have a world-class portfolio and the best brands out there for the retail establishments in Sacramento and surrounding areas, Lake Tahoe, and we went into Chico.
That's a lot of ground to cover.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's about 2 hours each. That's the furthest point of each direction from our warehouse in Auburn. But we cover it. We cover it well, and we're growing. We're growing like crazy. Like this year, we're probably trending up plus 20, which is ahead of my expectations.
Now that's total business or just beer?
Total business.
Okay.
Yeah, total business.
Because you guys are in some non-alc and you do some wine as well.
Yeah, we do a little bit of wine. I mean, 95% of what we do is craft beer and cider.
Gotcha.
So it's ancillary stuff. We do a little bit of craft spirits, but mainly craft beer and cider is what that's our forte.
Gotcha. And of the brands that you have, are there any particular standouts that are just catching fire for whatever reason this year that you can't slow them down?
I mean, I've told you a little bit about Revision, but I mean, those guys, Knee Deep, ex-founder Jeremy's brand, I seriously couldn't even expect as well. I mean, I knew they were going to do well, but these guys are crazy on fire. One of probably the biggest, most well-respected brands on the West Coast.
And they just launched, pretty recently, within the last couple of years.
Yeah, maybe a year and a half ago, if that.
So how does a brand like that, get so popular in such a short period of time, and how much of that is because of what you guys are doing?
Well, Jeremy had a great reputation, obviously, before with Knee Deep. And if you create great beers, it's really easy to go out there and pitch that to your accounts because they already trust us.
Right.
Winning awards like at the Whale Beer Cup and the GABF and other awards that he's won, I mean, that only helps. That adds fuel to the fire. So at this point, it's just a matter of making sure that they get us what we need or what we can sell out there. And I know that's a work in progress, but
sure.
It's going well.
Yeah. How about on the trend side, just style-wise? Is there something that you guys are paying particularly close attention to? Things that you guys are noticing that, whether it's hazy IPAs, brewed IPAs, which we hear about. I mean, what's kind of popping in California right now?
I'd say, definitely the New England style. Yeah, the hazy IPAs. The brewed IPAs, that's a nice little subcategory there. We're seeing a little resurgence in like the hoppy, easy drinking kind of pale ales, because everything's gotten so crazy. Crazily hopped West Coast styles, kind of it's there, but it's kind of gotten played out a little bit, even though that's what I like to drink. But yeah, just having a stylistically a really good range of styles. That's what I see. I wish Ambers would come back. We still sell a little bit of Ambers, but no one's making them, right? So the ones we have are going to sell.
Yeah. Now, on versus off, we've known for years that on-premise tends to lead to off-premise sales and brand trial on-premise, and that whole theory. Now, a lot of that has really shifted to the tap rooms. Have you noticed an impact just on your guys' business in the on-premise world? And have you guys had to adapt or evolve to kind of the tap room environment now?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great point. I mean, it's something we talk about every sales meeting we have. Even as close as 3 years ago, there wasn't nearly, maybe half the amount of breweries that are self-distributing as there is now. So in Sacramento, or Greater Sacramento, there's over 70 that are self-distributing.
Wow.
So our pie is the same size, but our slice of the pie, even as a craft distributor, has gotten cut by that amount because everybody's self-distributing.
Right.
So we have to work harder. We have to be smarter. Our sales reps have really got to know how to cater to each account and make sure that their base is covered as far as the styles on each, setup, each, what they want to offer their customers and what they want to offer to cater to the cuisine and their menus.
Well, the self-distributing breweries probably don't offer draft line cleaning at the bare minimum, right?
Only self-cleaning, yes.
Only their own line.
Which is maybe not as often as they'd like.
Yeah. Now, do you expect any pushback on that direct sales privilege, the tap room sort of phenomenon? Like, are you starting to see retailers push back? Are wholesalers starting to get a little bit territorial over it? I mean, what's kind of the climate out here in California? Because we see it a lot in New England and in Boston in particular. Retailers are really starting to get a little bit annoyed with how many beer gardens and tap rooms are opening up and starting to get a little bit more vocal about it. What's it like here in California?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say the competition is at an all-time high, and myself just witnessing it from, say 2009 to now. I mean, I really feel like our market's saturated. I mean, per capita, when you looking at the numbers, the population base of Greater Sacramento, 2.4 million people, and we have probably 80 brands, Greater Sacramento, maybe a little more. I mean, per capita, that's more than San Diego.
Right.
And I think our market can be as good as San Diego, but I don't think we're there yet. As far as the people willing to drink craft and really just expecting great craft beer no matter where they go. We have headwinds. As a distributor, we have headwinds. The retailers have headwinds because they're not adding shelf space. And even the self-distributing brands, I mean, they're facing headwinds because there's only so many people out there that are willing to drink craft, and there's so many great places to drink it now in Sacramento. Right. How do you choose?
Yeah, and how do you expand the overall pie? Like, obviously there's a large group of mainstream drinkers that still prefer lighter beers or bigger domestic brands. How do you start to convert those people? I mean, is it really just the taproom thing that's starting one by one to bring those people into the craft fold, or is there another method that people could be exploring here?
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree with the taproom method. I mean, a couple of our brands, a majority of our local brands have tap rooms, and I think that's a great marketing experience for the consumer. But I mean, when they start getting into multiple, like you guys would see it, or maybe down in San Diego where they have 4, 5, 6 tap rooms in the same market as distributor, that can get a little tricky.
Yeah.
I guess producing styles. If you're a well-respected brewer and you're known for IPAs and people trust your brand, it's probably easier if you produce something that's a lighter style, a lightly hoppy pale ale or a blonde, 805-esque type beer. I think most of the people now are willing to try it, and so that's how I think we're going to get those mainstream drinkers to convert over.
Do you think that that's the next sort of big trend in craft, is that sessionable, easy drinking craft lager, craft blonde ale? I mean, obviously 805, as you mentioned, has been on fire. Do you think that can sort of create some runway for some other brands to kind of fill in behind and tuck in behind and start to pick up some volume there? Yeah,
I definitely think so. The price has gotten pretty close now as the big brewers have taken price increases. They're pretty much still doing that every year. So if it's a difference between $1, a couple bucks a six-pack, I think the consumer's more willing to take a chance on something they haven't tried before if it's the same kind of style, whether it's a lager or a blonde.
Right.
And I think we all know once you get that flavor on your palate for whether it's a pale ale or hops or even a blonde ale versus a lager, a really light domestic lager, it's hard to go back if you like it, and your palate will adjust, and then that's what you're going to drink. So that's our goal, is to give people exposure to those craft styles.
Now,
And,
do you see it actually bearing out in your own trends with your own business? Have you seen that piece of your portfolio start to tick up?
a good example for us is one of our uber local brands, Dust Bowl at Turlock.
Yep.
And so they recently, well, we've had Taco Truck Lager now for, well, maybe a year and a half, but our trends on that, that's our number one selling beer from those guys
Wow.
now. Where it used to be Therapist, their triple IPA, which is still amazing. But the Taco Truck, man, whether it's the name and the liquid or both, it's very approachable, and you can really drink those beers. So
Now, when a company experiences something like that, where their top-selling brand in your portfolio changes so quickly and so drastically from a triple IPA to a lager, walk me through just sort of like that conversation and how you guys approach, like, hey, this is what's happening with your beers in our market. You need to produce more of this. How do you navigate that conversation with the brewer and start to change their minds about, hey, you might need to alter production schedules, etc.?
luckily for us, I mean, that happened, it wasn't overnight. And they had expectations, Dust Bowl, of the beer becoming, a top seller. And Therapist, I mean, when you look at, it's not that far behind it, I will say. It's still up there. And obviously dollar sales is more. But we had, they're a great partner for us. So we were always watching it month by month, week by week. And our brand rep, is in the market. So he's seeing the same things. So it was a little easier transition. Some of the other guys, though, it is something. We try and stay on top of it. So whether or not the weekly or monthly depletions on some of these brands, just to keep everybody up to speed on what's trending in the market.
Yeah. All right, we got time for one final question. Going to let you make some predictions for the rest of the year. Anything that you think will, really excite consumers or take the industry by surprise. Maybe a couple of predictions, whether it's a style prediction or literally anything. And then maybe something you're looking forward to for next year with your own business.
That's a tough one. Something that we haven't seen. I mean, I think these subcategories of IPAs are great, whether it's the milkshake IPA or the brute, the big thing is just to get everybody into IPA. And I think if we can do that, it's going to, just be a halo effect for craft beer in general. So I'm looking for I'm challenging our brands to come up with the next cool thing.
Well, maybe it's brute.
We have some brutes right now. They're great. Dry, West Coast dry IPAs is good. I don't know, man. That's a tough one.
All right.
They're leading it for me. I don't know. I'm just here. I'm just trying to sell whatever they can produce for us.
Well, I've been out on the East Coast for so long, and I've always looked at the West Coast to, kind of drive a lot of the innovation and trends. And now that's sort of flipped with the hazy IPAs. Mm-hmm. So I think it's the West Coast turn to, punch back and jab back with something of their own.
I'm gonna have to think of something and send it out to our guys.
All right, Jason.
Thank you.
Thank you
much,
so
man.
much.
I appreciate it.
Cheers.
Yep.